Good afternoon. It's a honor to welcome you all to our information session on the work of financial advising. We're going to come at it from two angles. We're going to come at it, speak to an alumni, learn from him a little bit about the pathway he took as a student at the university, and about a 10-year grind here. We'll learn from him, and then we'll introduce a key representative of MassMutual, and you'll learn from her about that side of the outfit and what the together looks like in terms of a potential career opportunity. So we think it's a good idea to show our students what a career looks like. And so we'll get started with Nicholas Schumer. I'll introduce you a little bit. I know you're a 2014 alumni in our finance major, and it would be quite silly of me not to say you are my firstborn and precious in my sight. That aside, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what really led you to finance, and give us a background of your bio.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I can officially say thank you, Mom, now that you cleared that up. So thanks for having me on here. Absolutely. So I came to Northwood. Really, the only job experience I ever had prior to coming to college was working on a deer farm in a local community of mine. And so I had no business experience, no professional experience, and best friend of mine that I've grown up with since kindergarten came to me one day and he said, "Hey, we're going to go to Northwood. It's this business school. We don't have to take any like art classes, things of that nature." And I said, "Let's do this." So I knew coming, with the programs that Northwood offered, I had no idea coming to campus what exactly I wanted to do with the rest of my life, as I'm not sure if anybody at 17 or 18, really knows that answer. But I always had an interest in finance, working with numbers, working with money. So that was always fascinating. And if you look at really all companies out there, there's always a finance department. So I was pretty confident that, okay, if I got this degree, I don't exactly know what I'm going to do yet, but I should be able to land a job somewhere, which is the goal of college, in my opinion. So that's what brought me to Northwood in my experience.
All right, I love it. And as you mentioned, just for the record, you two were known as Nick Squared on the campus. It was the Nick and Nick show. And tell us a little bit about some of the leadership roles you took along while you were there that helped you get a taste into this area of working with capital and money to make money.
Yep, that's a great question. So another reasons we were attracted to Northwood was one, we were members of Business Professionals of America when we were in high school. Northwood had a great program, a nice reputation there, so that was something we were attracted to. There was also a finance club. Again, as a new student and coming to college and all these new experiences, I'm just trying to get connected with people, build relationships, and get involved. So the finance club was another cool aspect that Northwood have, and a group of students that we could talk about finance. And I'm sure we'll get into the finance club is how I got my internship to start, but we'll get there. And lastly, and one of the best decisions I have ever made, I was approached my freshman year, and we actually became founding fathers of the Kappa Sigma chapter that's at Northwood. And I came to college not knowing what a fraternity or sorority or anything like that was. But just from a relationship standpoint, friends, network connections, business connections. Now, one of the best decisions I made was getting involved in that, and that has turned out to pay quite a many dividends.
Love it, love it. All right, let's move forward now. So you've got your college history, and no, I won't show some of those photos you emailed me late at night that involve saran wrap. But as a mother who sent her baby off to college, I was quite surprised with fraternity life. All right,
That's right.
now moving forward, though, you mentioned you worked on a farm, and so you've been grinding it and working it. So tell us a little bit about now What intrigued you into the finance area, and what drew you into the area of financial advising? And let's talk now about that internship and that career ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the tail end of my sophomore year, again, I mentioned the finance club. Northwestern Mutual came in, presented to us. They brought an advisor and a recruiter from the Grand Blanc area at the time, and they brought a big poster that they put up in the room that said nationally ranked top 10 internship program. That was my only takeaway from the presentation. Was I should probably talk to them, as that is something that could be pretty valuable to have on a resume. Again, not knowing anything about the financial services industry or what I was getting into. Again, I was really, my mindset was just to get some professional experience on my resume. And what I really enjoyed about their program was the real world experience that they, the opportunities that presented itself. I was not going, or I didn't want an internship where I was doing the work for somebody else. I was preparing paper, or getting the coffee for an experienced advisor. I best learn on the job, and that's what that internship program allowed me to do. And even to where my firm and everything is at now, what we've tried to create is a program that resembles that as well. We want to give students the real world experience to really answer the question of, could they see themselves doing this in the future? We, as we're sitting on this call right now, we don't know that answer. A new advisor could really fall in love with the business like I did, and the day I walked across the stage, graduated from Northwood, the day after I signed one document, and I was technically full time. So kind of a cool thing in my experience, my senior year at Northwood, I never had to interview or do anything with any other companies. Right? I knew exactly what I was going to do because of the experience I had from a few summers of being an intern. And so that's really where I fell in love with it. And Ma, you asked me about the business, and I always love to say, and students or people that I interview always ask me, well, I don't come from a finance background. Finance isn't my major. That's perfectly fine. The finance aspect of the advisory or financial planning world, I can teach you that. Any firm can teach you that material. The business is really about relationships. What is your work ethic and drive? And are you a trustworthy person? And do people really like you? Because again, I can put it in front of a client a lot of really cool charts or graphs or anything that I put together to try to impress them or say here's what makes me different. But at the end of the day, I've always had the belief that clients and people out there, they're buying you. And the relationship, they're going to build that relationship with you. And, we're talking about money, retirement, death, disability, major life events where for a lot of people, those are not easy conversations to have. And that is it's very hard to teach somebody how to be able to have those conversations or how to be able to build that trust with a client. And so again, that's bringing it back to the internship. I was 19 years old when I got into it. I was just people liked me, I guess, and here I am today. So there's no like secret sauce or anything like that to be a successful advisor. It's hard work. It's building those relationships. It's being there for the clients. But an internship program or getting attached to these major financial companies that are going to give you that real world experience, that's where you're going to really find out if this is going to be a career or not for you. Sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent, Mom, but wanted to get that out there.
I like it. Fantastic. Because, Greg and I mean, he's smiling and putting his head, shaking. We've come to learn that it's okay. You might get into this lane and say, hey, this isn't for me after a year or two. That's the beauty of experiential learning, is you get to test the water. And we're going to learn real quick here about how Mass is going to welcome, and I know you have something going on at your place too, but one of the things I really want to talk about is, what role are you playing now, though, at H&A? I mean, I know you started in one area, but tell us what you're doing now, almost 10 years later.
Yep. So Like I mentioned, I walked across the stage at Northwood the day after, I signed my full-time paperwork with Northwestern. I spent a total of 6 years there, so all the way up until the summer of 2018. And really, I have a lot of good things to say about Northwestern, from the training, the development. I would not be where I am today without that experience. Uh, but as my was continuing to grow, my client base was continuing to grow. I was continually being asked, can I do more? Can I move into this space? Can I move into guidance on real estate? Now in 2022 in crypto or NFT, all these unique spaces of the world changing. And at Northwestern, they kind of they have their path for you that they want you to be on, and it's worked very well for a lot of successful advisors. But I was starting to find myself deviating from that path to where I needed to be able to do more for clients, be able to provide more, and that's where I started looking for a change or a next opportunity for me. So our firm now, I transitioned in the summer of 2018, and actually I've partnered up with, going back to my Northwood days when I was an intern, the first two mentors that I had in the business, they actually left in the 2015 timeframe. I reached back out to them. They were doing something unique, and we've now all formed H&A Advanced Business Partners. So that's what our firm is now. And what we've moved into is in the advisory space, and it's worked for the last 100 years. The traditional advisor, there's two major ways that they're going to get compensated, or how an advisor is going to go to business. They're going to meet with a prospective client, but at the end of the day, they're going to put some strategy in place, give them some great ideas, but they need to either sell them some insurance or they need to get some money management to be able to get paid. And that's what the landscape has been the last 100 years. And I think as we're sitting in here on hopefully the tail end of a COVID pandemic, clients want more. They want that advisory relationship, the same playing field type relationship. They don't want to be sold anything. That's happened to them for the last 20 years. Last 20 years. So I want to be able to work in a fiduciary capacity. I want to be able to charge fees for true planning. And that's what our firm focuses now, is we have moved into that realm where clients, businesses, they're hiring us just like someone would hire a CPA or an attorney. We're going to be compensated for our strategy, intellectual capital, organization, and there's no sales pressure. I don't need you, Mr. and Mrs. Client, to buy anything for me or give me money to manage. Now, what our experience has been is throughout that process and engaging that way, usually we still end up getting that work as well. I always use the analogy of, when you guys go to build your dream home, you got to hire an architect. He's going to draw up the plans. If the architect is also a builder, you probably want him to build the house because he knows it better than anybody. The same exact idea and thinking that we have in our space is we're putting the plans together using our strategies, intellectual capital. That's what the clients are paying for. But when it comes down to, hey, they may actually need some insurance or they may have some money that we need to manage, we're in most cases getting that work now. So that's our firm now, H&A Advanced Business Partners. Again, that's kind of the space that we're working in. And again, a lot more freedom, flexibility, to be able to provide, truly what is the client need and his best interest.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I'm going to segue back over to Greg now. Those of you that are online will hopefully have some time at the end for Q&A. In the chat box, I do have some information and links in there, both Nicole and Nick's contact information. But let's turn it over to Greg now, and now let's segue into that real world space, which is MassMutual. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Deb. So hi, I'm Greg Stifler, Director of Career Advancement here at Northwood. And so here in a minute, I'm going to introduce Nicole Yaldo. Nicole is the Director of Recruiting for MassMutual Great Lakes. She's been with them, I think, about a year now. But before that, she was with Lincoln Financial Services, and she's been in the financial industry now for over 5 years. She also has a background in finance. I mean, she comes to us today from, has a degree from Oakland University in finance and in marketing. And we really wanted to have her, like Debbie said, be able to pivot away from, hey, this is some of the great things that we know you can do with your degree, but to have you start to explore, is this a company I could see myself building a future with? And do they have the same culture? And do they have the same beliefs and ethics and all the good things that go into selecting a company and selecting a mentor and selecting an internship program? And so without any further, and like Debbie said, we've got time at the end, so we can answer questions for either of them. But we just want to make sure that we're giving you a snapshot of options and opportunities with your Northwood degree. So Nicole?
Appreciate the introduction, Greg. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and bring up my Prezi. So just 1 second. The presentation is going to start with a video, and the video is of our CEO. His name is Manny Amasqua, and he'll be going over the impact of a career in financial services.
There are 5 basic things I've learned in my life that dictate our quality of life. And this applies to almost every human I've ever met. Your relationship with your faith, your gratitude for living in the greatest free country in the world, your relationships with your family, your level of fitness in being a ferocious competitor in everything you do. And the 5th, your financial resources. My brothers and I were born in Chicago, Illinois, to 2 immigrants from Mexico, Mami Mina and Papi Beto. They're the most unbelievable humans that could have ever been our parents. We had unbelievable faith, unbelievable family bond, and we took great pride in being able to live in the greatest free country in the world. Great pride they made that sacrifice to come here. But we lacked financial security, stability, and success. And in lacking that one F, faith, family, fitness, freedom, it was very hard. But with limited financial resources, we lack one thing that people with money don't: the power of choice. The power of choice. We're in the business of architecting the blueprint to their financial household that will provide them financial security, stability, and success during the 3 main stages of someone's life: during their income earning years, retirement and their non-income earning years, and the 3rd, the day they pass and have cemented their financial legacy for eternity. We take great pride in being in that business. It's not so much about the financial calculators as much as it is about relationships and being of value to other human beings. This entire career and profession, when you match the right person with the right purpose, the right passion, right talents to this opportunity, the legacy and the legacies that that person helps to create is unbelievably powerful.
I'm going to quickly go over our vision, mission, and values. Our vision is to be the premier brand delivering financial well-being that serves individuals, businesses, and institutions. Our mission is that we are committed to delivering comprehensive planning, creating financial security, stability, and long-term success in every community we serve. And some of our core values: to serve first, collaboration, commitment to excellence, authentic optimism, transparency, reliability, and resourcefulness. This next slide is resources. So here at MassMutual Great Lakes, we are very rich in resources. So this slide is simply saying that we are here for you every step of the way. We want all of our advisors to focus solely on their personal production, and we'll provide you with all the resources needed to ensure your success. One of the best resources that we provide you here at MassMutual is a coach. So a coach is a financial advisor that's affiliated with MassMutual, but in addition to their personal production, they have leadership responsibilities. And their sole leadership responsibility would be to train, mentor, develop people such as yourselves and make them become efficient and effective financial advisors. In addition to that, some other resources that we provide are practice structure, problem solving, succession planning, technology integrations, training and development, marketing, and compliance. Next, I have a roadmap here that just kind of gives you a general idea of where you would start and where you would end if you affiliated with MassMutual. So we require everyone to obtain their life and health license, and that will allow you to do risk management business or life insurance. So once you've obtained that life and health license, you'll go through an 8-day orientation and onboarding process. It's 3 days of meeting our team infrastructure and then 5 days of a career intro into the financial services representative role. From there, you'll have some ongoing training and development from your coach and from the agency that will consist of peer-to-peer meetings, on-demand learning, case studies, role-playing, group discussions, and then you'll be able to start selling. Initially, it'll be risk management, so whole or term life, annuities, disability insurance, long-term care. Once you're comfortable and acclimated, you'll then start studying for your series exams. Those include your SIE, which is your securities exam, your Series 66, and your Series 7. Once you've obtained all of those licenses, you will then be able to do investment business or the wealth management portion and really become a holistic advisor. So do risk management and wealth management. Once you're also comfortable and acclimated on the investment side, our director of financial planning puts on a 2-day boot camp. It's free of charge, and he teaches you how to build a financial planning practice. So essentially, really how to take your practice to the next level and do fee-based financial planning. And lastly, the pinnacle of success, again, letting you know that we're here for you every step of the way, whether you're an independent advisor, ready to grow your team, build an ensemble, or find a successor and determine your exit strategy. This next slide just shows some of our average advisors in regards to compensation. So average 1 to 5 year advisors, roughly $117,000. 6 to 10 year advisors is $308,000, and then our career advisors, or 10 plus years, is $500,000 plus. And lastly here, everyone always wonders what a typical day looks like. So as an advisor, you are an entrepreneur, you're a 1099, an independent contractor, it's your business, you can run it any way you would like, but this last slide is a sample of a typical week for one of our advisors at MassMutual. Again, each person will personalize their schedule based on their needs and their clients' needs, as it's your business and you can run it any way you want. But this is just a sample. He likes to start early at 6:30 in the morning. He ends his day at 5, as he does have a family. As you can see here, this purple are all his meetings. He has time blocks where he watches a podcast every morning before he gets in. He does some continuing education, some continued development and learning. So just a general idea of what a typical calendar looks like. And that is about it. If anybody is interested in learning more or exploring opportunities with MassMutual, you are more than welcome to email me or send me your resume, and I will reach out and dive deeper into conversation.
So I guess I can start with, if anybody has any questions, maybe I should ask that first. Is there anyone who had a question about what we saw?
I do. So Nicholas, you mentioned how you don't necessarily have to have a background in finance to be a financial advisor. So, do you notice that more people do have a finance background? And if not, do you believe that you had to step up because you did have that background?
That's a great question. Do I believe I had to step up? Maybe. And the only reason I say maybe, all the terms that were starting to get thrown at me were not complete strangers. So for example, a woman on my team right now that I've been training over the last couple of years, she came from the fashion industry, but she had a passion for sales. She had run her course at her former employer. So she came in with no financial experience, and still here she's doing very well. But it takes maybe a little bit more time to catch up on what some of the financial lingo is. But other than that, that's, in my opinion, I can teach you all that. That's really easy. So maybe I have a little bit of a leg up, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to you as, the person thinking about this business. What are your passions? And I've seen people from all different walks of life have a lot of success in this business. Whether, like I said, from the fashion side of the business, engineering side of the business, or an engineering degree, a writing degree. If I could go back, I would probably still do finance, but where we see a lot of, to your leg up question, maybe a communications degree. That would be something, if I could go back, maybe take some more classes on, speech, public speaking, how to, articulate your message. Those type of classes, I think, really can help you in that department. But does that answer that question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Perfect.
Cool. Hey, Nicole, could I kind of piggyback on that a little bit? And maybe he's talked about how, there's that need to be liked, or not the need, but those people who love what they do and they're successful. Are there some things as a recruiter when you're talking with applicants and students applying for internships that really stick out to you, that say, wow, I wish everybody had this skill or this attribute or some certain type of passion that really makes folks do great at MassMutual?
Yeah, one of the things that we look for are people that are maybe involved in different organizations or groups, athletes. Just because you're very well connected, you would have good customer service skills. So that's always one of the things that we look out for. And to add on to what Nick just said, to answer your question even further, you don't necessarily have to be in finance. And Nick is right. I talk to so many people, whether it be a career changer, there's people from all different walks, like he said. It's just dependent on your background and you as a person as to whether or not you'll be successful in this industry.
Fantastic. Nicholas, I do have a question I'd like to ask you. And so, what would you say it takes for someone to be successful in this industry?
That's a tough question, but a good one. I would say a couple different things, or at least what are always my go-to. First and foremost, I think it's all about somebody's grit and drive. And what I mean by that is, and Nicole mentioned as well, this business is more entrepreneurial and relationship based than it is finance. I don't have a time card waiting for me every morning that I got to get in and punch. I set my schedule. It's my business. I'm in charge of everything. So with that comes a lot of perks of, if I want to sleep in, I can. There's no one controlling me. I don't have anybody calling me saying, Nick, it's 8:30. Where are you? Now, the negative of that, though, is from a best practices standpoint, showing up to the office at 11 o'clock every day, that might not be the best path of success. So grit and drive, and I'd also say how can someone, how can you process and handle the bad days? For every advisor, they're there. There's always that client where, man, I think we're at the finish line. This is about to be a huge case. They pull the plug at the last second. Or a lot of people struggle with, when you're building your practice or when you're reaching out to potentially folks that you know and that you care about, they may not want to talk to you about these type of things. That's very challenging. My own parents, it took a couple months of being an intern to where I finally was, hey, we're having some conversations here. But how do you handle being told no or receiving rejection? Does that set you back, or does that only fire you up more to find the next one? I think too, another thing I would add is you have to control what you can control. I can't force a client to do business with me. What I can control is I'm always at my best. I communicate, and I'm trying to help them achieve what their goals are. If at the end of the day they decide nope, or they want to work with somebody else, or this isn't a good fit, I can't control that. I can't control somebody canceling an insurance contract or moving their investments to another advisor. And I've seen so many people spin their wheels and get caught up in the negatives, or why is this happening to me, when there are things that are out of your control. What I can always control is in my hands, how I show up, the energy, everything that I bring to the table. And then lastly, I would say, in this business, you got to have a little luck. As cliche as that is to say, it is really true. It is very helpful. It's a very challenging business. One of the slides that Nicole shared, though, that is really impactful is what career advisors' income thresholds on average are. That's very attractive, but it's not easy to get to that level. If it was, everybody would want to be a financial advisor. But having a little luck along the way, it can go a long way. And so, again, great question, Ma. Hopefully that kind of answers that and gives some thought there. But for me, it was all luck. The only reason I'm still in this business is all luck. I didn't do anything. It was all luck.
Fantastic. All right. Any other questions from the group? We have a pretty good sized group here. I think it was about 9 or 10. So any other questions from the student audience?
Yeah, I have a question. And this can be for like Nicole or Nick. So you had mentioned about the different designations that you can get for financial advising. Which ones do you recommend someone starting out in this type of business to obtain first?
Nicole, do you want to answer that, or would you like me to?
Doesn't matter. You can start.
It's another great question. So from a baseline standpoint, like Nicole said, you're going to need your insurance licensing and then some type of securities baseline. So whether that's a 6 and 63 combination, a Series 7, 66 combination, you can even get into a Series 65 to be able to charge fees. Some type of combination of those. Once you have that, that basically opens the floodgates of you can do just about anything. When it comes to designations, I'm working on several right now, that is where, when you start to want to go into niche, some of the big ones out there are a CFP, Certified Financial Planner. CFA is another major one that's out there. I always like to say education is always happening. I always, our clients are expecting me to make sure I'm staying up on things, being educated. The learning never stops, and it's more so what type of direction of planner do you want to be? So there's designations for retirement planning, a RICP, for example. There's A new one that a couple advisors, and one of them that I'm working on, is called a SEPA. So that is business exit and transition planning. Doesn't really match the SEPA letters, but that's what it is. That's what they tell us. Holly, I think it was to, again, and I don't mean to take up all the time, but again, get your baseline, get your insurance done, get a baseline securities exam so the floodgates of everything open to you. And then from a designation standpoint, you can really go in many different directions. And the best advice that I would give is partnering with companies like a MassMutual or other major firms. They're in most scenarios are going to eat that cost for you. So to go get a CFP designation, that's probably a $6,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 commitment. I'd much rather have a company that's backing me pay that bill than have to pay that out of my own pocket.
Fantastic.
Exactly. The only thing I would add to that is, so like Nick mentioned, if you are affiliated with MassMutual, we will compensate or reimburse you for all of the exam study material, but not the actual fee itself. And that's because it's the study material that's expensive. The exam fee is really minimal. Your life and health and your SIE, you can take on your own. You don't have to be affiliated with a company. However, for your 7 and your 66, you do need to be sponsored by financial institution.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have anyone else?
I
Gotta
have
be
enough.
something out there.
If that's okay.
All right.
So, my question is how are wealth advisors helping their clients handle inflation and potential interest rate hikes?
Oh, Nick, good one.
That's a great question. So I'm just coordinating my thoughts here of how I would answer that. So the advice that I always give, and I'm going to bring this answer back to when you're doing true financial planning, you're taking into account all of those things. And true planning is not a 1 or 2 year thing. And someone's a client's financial plan is a living, breathing piece that's changing daily. I've never understood why companies say, we have to deliver plans or they got to be finalized, because the day after the plan, things are different. Account values are higher. The plan changes. So we always, when we're talking to clients, have the long term in mind. What is the client specifically trying to achieve? What are their goals and objectives? And it's my job. I'm the worst case scenario advisor that you're going to talk to. I'm already planning for severe high rates of inflation. I'm already planning for how can we de-risk your portfolios if the market takes a 20, 30% hike? What happens if the government raises taxes to 50, 60, 70%? So those are all things I'm already thinking about. So like right now, inflation is a very serious thing. It's the highest it's been in a long time. I'm not worried about it because in our plans, what we've done for clients, we're already prepared for it. It hasn't surprised us. It hasn't shocked us. And the message I always share with clients, and I've gotten this feedback before, is, well, Nick, I think times are going to be better than that. Inflation's not going to be that significant every single year. And my comeback to them was always, well, what if it is? At least we know at the bare worst case scenario, you're going to be able to accomplish the goals and live the life that you want to have. And hopefully the client's right. And the future is not as bad as the picture that I've painted. And I've always said, I want to be the advisor that gets to call them up and say, you know what? Hey, life is better. We have X amount of more money for you to spend or to live on in retirement, or, hey, go buy that vacation house or that boat that you've always wanted, or your drink, whatever it is. Those are the fun conversations. So that's how I would answer that is have the long term in mind. Don't make rash emotional decisions. So many clients in the general public get into trouble when they start letting emotion dictate their decisions. They panic. They pull, the stock market's been down here in January. Clients are starting to call. Should I be concerned about it? I'm going to pull money out. Let's go to cash. It's our job to, hey, again, it's your choice. You get to make the decision, but you've hired me to help you through these situations. Let's take the emotion. We've already planned for this. If I don't care what the stock market does, because our plan is still on track. Your goals, your objectives are still on track. That's what our role as an advisor is.
So to go off the inflation, do you believe that it's transitory, or what do you think about that?
I would be very concerned of inflation over the next couple of years. Again, as I've always liked to say, the government has printed a lot of money, and that bill's going to come due at some point. And our generation, and you guys as students, new workers in the workforce, we're going to be the ones that's going to be paying those bills back. Nothing's free, and everything costs money, and it's just when does the bill come due? So we have severe concerns about that, but again, we're taking that into account, and we've already planned for it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, so Nicole, what would be the next steps for the students if they like what they've been hearing? Where do they go? I know we've got your contact email there. I know you'll be at the fair on Thursday, but do they start out by going to Handshake and filling out applications? Is there a different process that you'd like to go through?
If anyone's interested in exploring opportunities or learning more, feel free to just send me an email. You can attach your resume or just send me your contact information, and I will give you a call and we can go from there.
Okay. Terrific. Well, thank you, everybody. Especially thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Nicole, for taking the time out this afternoon. We really appreciate the students who are here. We hope to be doing more of these. So if you enjoyed today's presentation, make sure your roommates, your teammates, your friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, just keep watching for the announcements. And across the board, number of different majors, but we think this is the best way to get some real world advice from real world alums and friends of Northwood out there. So, and with that,
Awesome.
I guess we
Awesome. Thanks for having us on.
from there.
Yeah, so
Bye, everybody.
We'll see you next Thursday, Nicole, and thank you so much, students, for checking in. We're trying to serve you. So have a good night, and we will see you around campus.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.